Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. We're going to jump right in today's topic, which is about how to budget for your dream vehicle. You may already have your dream vehicle in mind, such as a Lamborghini, or you may be sitting there going, I think I need a vehicle, but I'm really not sure what I need, or I have an idea, but is it going to be the right vehicle for me? We're going to go through that today, all the way from how do I determine what my dream vehicle is to how can I afford it and eventually think about when I need to replace it. So let's go and get started on the process. Step one is going to be define your criteria. So just like anything you need to buy, you really should be looking at what your criteria for that item is. I know it's really easy to get sucked into commercials or, the latest fad and say, hey, I really want that particular vehicle or whatever that thing is. But with any purchase, you should be really looking at what is it I need? What is my criteria for having that? And does that product fit my needs? So for a vehicle, some of the things that you'll want to consider are the number of people that you're going to be moving around in that vehicle. If you are single, no plans to get married, you don't like a lot of people in your vehicle, that will be very different than somebody who is married and has one or two kids, maybe more. Maybe they're thinking about more coming. And so you need to make sure that you have a vehicle that would accommodate that, as well as all the things that may come with those people. So for example, with the family, you need car seats with them when they're younger and as they move through. So making sure that that vehicle can accommodate that is really important. The next thing you should consider is what kind of stuff you need to move around with that vehicle. Are you actively involved in any kind of sports? So depending on what it is, you may have large pieces like golf or hockey or ringette. You have those big hockey bags, golf bags, need some space for it, versus say maybe you're a runner. Well, a lot less gear that you're going to take with you. Maybe if you're a soccer player, not the coach with the big bag, but different things. So really look at what sports are you involved in. Do you need to haul a lot of things? Maybe you're a garage sailor and you like going out to garage sales. So do you need to have space for all of those great treasures that you find? Or you are somebody who really likes working in the yard. Do you need to have space to pick up all of the things you'll need for your yard? So anything, what are your activities you do? What is it you need to go around with? Camping would be another great example. Once you have all of those, another thing to consider, animals. Do you have animals? Do you have a dog maybe that you need to go to the park to get their exercise? Is the vehicle suitable for them? Can they get in and out of it easily, or can you put a ramp in? Nothing like trying to pick up a 100-pound dog and put it in the vehicle if it's not working for you, or even a small dog. Another really big important thing is looking at the weather. What is the weather where you live? So I live in Edmonton. We have winter. So some of the things I got to consider is, can this vehicle drive in the winter? Putting winter tires on. So that's a cost that I'll have to consider. If I lived in a really hot area, do I need air conditioning? Is that going to be something that'll be a deal breaker if I don't? I want to be more comfortable in it. Another thing to consider is your commute. Do you live in town and so you're doing a runabout just in town, or are you commuting from your acreage or farm into town on a regular basis? Are you a traveling salesperson, so you need to be able to drive long distances? That may impact what type of vehicle you purchase because your fuel efficiencies may become more important than other considerations. Along with that, you could do things like towing. Do you need to tow anything with your vehicle? So going back to the example with camping, Do you want to tow your own trailer? What is the size of that trailer? That can affect what type of vehicle you buy. In your criteria, make sure once you've got all those listed out, go through and say which ones are deal breakers for you. Find your criteria out as must-haves versus nice-to-haves. And overall, are you going new or used? Disadvantages and advantages to both of those, you'll have to make that decision. Once you've defined what your criteria is, you're going to go to step 2, which is research the vehicles that fit your criteria. So a lot of times your criteria would narrow down to the type of vehicle you want, whether it's a car, SUV, truck, or van, or anything in between there, motorcycle. And you would then narrow down your search and start looking at the vehicles and comparing them to the criteria list you had. So as I've mentioned here, my Lamborghini is my dream car. I would love to have one. Now, if I were to go through my criteria list, not a chance that would meet. However, the vehicle that I do have meets those criteria. I am super happy with my car. It may not be my dream vehicle from the fact it's not a Lamborghini, but it is a dream for me because I drive it and I have no concerns about it. So that's really what we're trying to get to. Then you're going to look at the price of them, so start to get an idea of what that price is for vehicles in that range. And you could go anything from a base model up to the luxury models. Where do those fit? What does that look like? Another important thing is to look at availability. These days with COVID and everything, availability could become an issue. So look at some of those things as well. Once you've gotten down there, you've probably narrowed your cars down to a few different options. You'll have an idea of what the range of costs are for that vehicle. What you're going to start looking now is at your financing options. This is step 3. Step 3 is what you're going to finance. You're trying to understand what it is. So are you new or used, and what are your options? So you could pay cash, pay for it with a line of credit you already have, or you could go out and get an actual loan for your car. Now, whether you pay for it a line of credit on your own or a loan from a financing company, you're going to want to look at, what do I have for a down payment? So how much am I actually financing? What is the interest rate? What are the terms of the loan? So the terms are how long that loan lasts. Is it 3-year, 5-year, 8-year? Start to be cautious about those longer ones. Make sure you're going to keep your car as long as your loan at least, so that you don't end up howling money if you have to go sell it. You also want to look at the payment frequency. Most common is monthly, but you can pay bi-weekly, match it up to your paychecks. You could also pay weekly. There are a few different options available for you. So you'll want to get through and figure out what your financing options are. Once you have figured out all that, we're still not ready to buy that car yet, but we're getting there. Step 4. Step 4 is to look at all the other costs associated to a vehicle. I think a lot of times people get all excited about buying my car and, hey, it's $200 a month or $200 every couple of weeks. That's great. I can afford that. You get the vehicle, and then there's all these other costs. So this is your licensing. So you need a license to drive normally. Any plates that you have to put on your car. The insurance on your car. Do you have to pay for parking? So do you have to pay for parking at your home or at work? Also, if you're going to events and stuff, what kind of parking costs might you start incurring for that? Maintenance. What kind of maintenance costs are you looking? So when you've researched your car, what is the recommended maintenance? Do you need tires? So in Edmonton, I need winter tires, so I have to buy another set of tires, and I have to account for the cost to switch them out. Your oil changes. If you're buying used, start putting some money aside to make repairs for something that might happen. What is your fuel cost? So this becomes important. This is where the fuel efficiency comes in, because you could start estimating, what would this vehicle cost me to commute every day? If I'm a traveling salesperson again, have an idea of what my fuel costs are. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take your financing costs and all those other costs and incorporate them into your budget. This is step 5. You're going to go to your budget, because you have a budget, right? If not, this is going to be the start of it. So you're going to look in your budget. Do I already have space to accommodate both the payment and the purchase and the ongoing maintenance of this vehicle? Or do I have to give up something or compromise, so take some money from other priorities? Is that right for me? This is a question you'll have to answer for yourself of, is that something I'm willing to give up in order to have a vehicle? Once you've figured that out, you're going to move to step 6, which I highly recommend living 3 to 6 months with these costs in your budget, but set them aside and move them into savings, but make it a rule that you can't touch them. And it'll give you 2 answers. 1, can you live with that amount of money coming out of your budget on an ongoing basis? And number 2, if you do decide to buy the vehicle, you've actually already got some savings in there to help maybe reduce the cost of it because you've got your down payment or you've set aside some money for maintenance already. And if you don't decide to buy the car, hey, then you've got money for something else as well. Okay, once you've lived 3 to 6 months, and again, this is optional, but I highly recommend it because it really gives you an idea of if you're willing to give things up that you thought you were. Step 7 is the buy or no buy decision. At this point, you've lived with it. You can decide whether or not you're going to buy that vehicle. Everything's working out great. You think it's wonderful. Go ahead and buy that vehicle. Or you've realized through this process, maybe it's not time right now to buy a vehicle, or I don't need a vehicle at all, and I can use that money for something else. If you do decide to buy the vehicle, you need to move to step 8, which is monitoring your costs once you have that vehicle. So once you have that vehicle, you've set aside the money in your budget. This is specifically on that maintenance side. Is that reasonable? Are you using it up more quickly than you thought? Or your fuel costs are skyrocketing, or maybe they're way under what you estimated. Just make sure you're monitoring that and making adjustments. And then the last step, if you've bought a vehicle, step 9, is plan for the replacement of that vehicle. So once you have your vehicle and you've been driving it, using it, always have a plan for what you're going to do next. Maybe you don't need another one because your life circumstances change, or you need to upgrade. You've married and you've got some kids on the way now, so you're going to move up into a different type of vehicle. Or you've changed jobs and you need to change your vehicle. So the more you can have a plan for a replacement, the easier it'll be for you to transition to that next step. I hope you found this video helpful on how to budget for your dream vehicle. We're going to do a lot more videos like this of very specific activities or purchases that you're going to make in your budget and how to look at those, how to figure out what your cost will be, how to budget for them, and hopefully that will help you overall in your budget to figure out what you need to do to make it your best life. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button so that you can be informed of our next how to budget video that'll be coming out soon. Thanks, have a great day.